So the new Charli XCX album came out. It's been on repeat for me since. The rollout for this album has been beyond probably one of the best I've seen in a while. The hype for its release was definitely there. Then it premiered. Each track showcases Charli in her element. It's a masterpiece. A pop star becomes great, I think, when they can find a way to weave a perfect mix of danceable tracks and deeply emotionally vulnerable lyricism. That's the brilliance of Charli here. Every time she makes music, she does it so purposefully, always with a definite point of view she wants to put across. One of the standout tracks for me on the first listen was Girl So Confusing. The song explores the relationship with an unnamed artist and the complexities that make being a girl in the music industry so confusing. But it's not just about being a girl in the industry, it's about being a woman in the world, being seen and talked about by everyone, and the difficulties that come with maintaining relationships when you're an icon in the making. When Girl So Confusing dropped with the release of the album, the internet went crazy. On first listen, it feels like a straightforward diss track, a direct critique of a relationship and the confusing interplay of words and actions, camaraderie and rivalry, and our public persona versus the one few get to see. Charli embraces the inherent contradictions and unapologetic hypocrisy that comes with being human. After a few more listens and some interviews, it became clear to me that Charli had a lot more to say than just, I think you hate me and I think I hate you. Charli highlights how everyone says she and this unnamed artist are alike. They even have the same hair. A tongue-in-cheek moment that is an obvious critique of how consumers often simplify and compare artists superficially. Charli follows that by questioning why they don't get along, despite these similarities, wondering if there's a deeper issue at play. Then come the moments of genuine vulnerability, a facet of Charli's brilliance that shines even brighter here. In the song, Charli openly questions herself about what it is that keeps them apart. She wonders on the track if the other girl hates her, if their differences are so profound that the awkward silences between them signify more than just discomfort. She questions if there's a bigger undercurrent between them, an eagerness to see her fall and fail. It's here that I find one of the bigger parallels to my life. Like, there's times where I totally struggle to connect with others. I can't tell what it is, but I can feel it so fully and completely. When I go out sometimes, or even talk to people online, I see people like me, who look like me, who dress like me, who I feel would like some of the things I like, yet the conversations just don't work. I'm just left with this awkward feeling of defeat. Many of us are longing for that connection. If not deeply, at least passively. That's the central theme Charli is highlighting here. A longing for a connection with someone she feels she should naturally connect with. It's interesting to see Charli explore what it could be that drives the two apart here too. Charli juxtaposes their artistic differences, saying one writes poems while the other throws parties. Charli has become synonymous with partying. For most of her fans, myself included, she represents unbridled freedom and fun. In Charli's world, partying and enjoying yourself are as essential to life as breathing. It can be overlooked, but there's a genuine profoundness to her partying. It's life at its best. Clubbing is her catharsis, her means of exploring her world, of experiencing and working through the ups and downs life throws at her. On a macro level, this is where her self-consciousness might come in. The world sees one woman as someone who thinks art is just dance and beats, while the other is seemingly meticulous with her words, almost pretentiously so. Charli encapsulates all the confusion that comes with being a girl in the industry, where she is treated as a commodity and pitted against other women. Art becomes a competition, and everyone has an opinion. Who looks better, who sings better, who writes better, who is truly an artist, and who is just someone making music. The internet and stans alike have a very long history of pitting women in the music industry against each other. You can be a multi-Grammy winning artist, but hey, you kinda fucking suck at dancing. You can have a totally unique sound palette with emotionally charged lyrics, but like Taylor Swift is beating you in the charts. The phenomenon isn't always inherently driven by malice, but usually it's just about the statistics. It's an interesting conversation about who the masses are into right now, and the impact an artist is having on people's lives, even if just for a couple minutes of a day. We're living in a great time for music, for artists, and more specifically for women in music who are creating work that is dominating the charts. At the end of the day, though, a lot of the conversations eventually devolve into opinion. And what's more factual than an opinion? Nothing. It's a cultural habit at this point, a consumption of media that simplifies women, their music, their art, and their relationships for entertainment. This practice can overshadow the genuine successes and creative contributions of women in the industry. People love to pit women against each other. It's the internet's favorite sport. Charli XCX has spoken out about it, pointing out how in the noughties, and honestly even more recently, headlines and internet stands often pitted artists like Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera against each other to drive sales and engagement. We're so far past that. It's just so tired. Beyond the casual competitiveness imposed on women, Charli has pointed out that modern feminism has created unnecessary expectations for women, noting that the media's portrayal of female relationships is often overly simplistic and misleading. You're either a girl's girl or you're a bitch. That's just such an unrealistic expectation of women, she says. Relationships between women are super complex and multi-layered. She goes on to explore the complex interplay between relationship stardom, confidence, and self-consciousness. You can like someone and dislike them at the same time. You can feel jealous of somebody, but they can still be your friend. You can have the best time of your life on a night out with someone, but not be that close to them at all. You can pose with your arms around a person at an award show, but in reality, you're feeling not worthy or small or really cocky or confident or a huge multitude of different emotions. In discussing her song Girls So Confusing, Charli highlights that confusion and distills it into an anthem. The persistent need to compare and pit women against each other is merely a distraction. As fans and critics alike began diving into the Brat album, everyone was speculating heavily about who the unnamed artist might be. Of course, Twitter stans and TikTok critics had their theories, and many of them seemed spot on. But Charli kept quiet. When asked about it in interviews, she kept her lips sealed, not confirming or denying anything, but not trying to play into it too much. Her focus was on the underlying message, not the woman behind the song. Lorde, who the internet swore the song was about, joined the conversation by posting about Charli on the album's premiere. Lorde went on Instagram saying simply, "There is no one like this bitch." It was clear that Lorde loved the album, though her awareness of the song's potential parallels to her may have been less certain, at least up until this point. Charli kept that momentum going, performing packed venues, making me and everyone else who couldn't get their hands on tickets beyond jealous. At a premiere performance at the Brooklyn Paramount on June 11th, a special guest was in the audience, Lorde. And not just that, she was clearly enjoying the music. Then Charli dropped a snippet on Twitter featuring Lorde's verse. And again, the internet did in fact go crazy. That new release was an absolute masterpiece. It's incredible to see two women at the top of their game creating something so vulnerable, so honest, and still so danceable and sonically engaging. The remix starts off with Charli delivering her lines just like last time. With Lorde's contribution, the song evolves, offering an even more profound exploration of the themes Charli first presented. It's clear now that Charli's impressions of Lorde were misguided. Lorde had been struggling deeply, and what Charli perceived as social snubs were actually signs of Lorde's self-doubt, her discomfort with her place in the world, and a personal struggle hidden from others, but experienced by many. Charli's life, with its high-octane excitement and constant attention from cameras and people, seemed overwhelming to Lorde. The true power of Lorde's music is in that honesty. Her lyrics are so easy to relate to. I've been invited out many times by tangential acquaintances or distant friends, but my self-consciousness about how I will be perceived has held me back. Many of us have experienced those moments where we're trapped in our heads, afraid to interact with the world because we fear the world's reaction to us. When Lorde reveals her internal struggle with her body, her fear of the camera becomes more profound. Lorde's candid discussion about her body image and the judgment she feels from the world strikes a chord with many, including myself. It's not just the act of being in those spaces that scares her. It's about being seen by a world that's quick to compare her to others, and even worse, to her own past self. On the track, she writes a devastating admission, revealing that she has starved herself and then regained all the weight on the road to recovery. She's not alone there. Many of us have felt an immense pressure to conform to these societal beauty standards. There was a time when I skipped meals, went hours in the gym, and avoided going out or meeting others because I didn't want to be perceived. The thought of someone negatively judging me made me want to retreat further into myself. It's not that I didn't want to go out. It's just the idea of being judged was so overwhelmingly more powerful. It's debilitating and confusing all at the same time. Societal expectations shape how we perceive ourselves and others, creating ridiculous standards where beauty is narrowly defined and deviations are harshly judged both internally and publicly. It creates a culture where people, especially women, feel valued only for their appearance, leading to a lifetime of self-doubt and striving to meet impossible standards. Lorde's public image is only part of the story. Her world behind closed doors was something Charli may never have anticipated. To Charli, Lorde is just a girl who she can't connect to, who she doesn't get, an untouchable icon. Lorde goes on to explain that her behavior is just self-defense, a method to shield herself from the potential harm of being seen. She chooses to retreat into herself, to withdraw from the world rather than face its judgment. The baggage we place on how someone exists in the world is intense. The reality of being alive is that we never truly know what others around us are going through. It's easy to dismiss with a casual yeah, but it's genuinely hard to distinguish between someone who's genuinely fine and someone who's struggling, but masking it with a bitchiness or an aloofness that keeps others away. We often forget how people see us, and that's what happened here. Lorde never thought her voice had such a strong presence in Charli's mind. This is where the brilliance of Lorde comes in more fully. It's just self-defense until you're building a weapon. In a world crowded with music creators, it's easy to forget the influence one has on the industry and the lives of their peers. Lorde and Charli are more alike than they realized. The simple acknowledgement that inside the icon there's still a young girl from Essex distills the essence of their song. This song captures the interplay between their superstardom, who they are in the world and the music industry, and their real lives, where they started and found their passion. Just before the big dance break, Lorde quips that they're both on the coins the industry loves to spend, acknowledging how the industry commodifies them. They understand their place in the music world, at least to the overlords. They're seen as expendable commodities, not as people. That perspective ignores their true essence, reducing their art to something to be consumed and compared. We often give more credence to what we think they are than to their true selves and feelings, stripping away their humanity and overlooking the real, complex individuals behind the public personas. The track in its entirety is pure Charli, an unabashed call to party. Yet, amid the synthy anthemic beats the song evolves into towards the end, there's a touching moment where they both say, "You know I ride for you." This exchange of support and solidarity is rare among pop stars. In an industry where women are often commodified and pitted against each other, moments of mutual support are revolutionary. They shatter the superficial narratives that dominate the media, revealing the real human connections behind the pap pics, Instagram stories, and musical stats. Their bond likely goes deeper than anyone knows. Fans often feel a one-sided connection to these artists, but moments like these offer a rare glimpse into the genuine reciprocal relationships behind the scenes. It's a reminder that these women are more than just icons or performers. They're real people navigating the same struggles as everyone else. Amid commodification and criticism, they find liberation through their art. In an industry that often tries to confine them, the track boldly asserts their complexities and solidarity. This solidarity is not merely empowering, it's essential. Being a woman in pop isn't just about making music. It's a lived experience filled with highs and lows, public accolades, and profound self-reflection. Combine that with the difficulties of navigating relationships and a million stands insisting you should hate each other, and you're left in a constant state of apprehension. It's confusing, to say the least.